The movie opens with a young girl who has slaughtered a barn full of cows, goats, and boars. Her body is drenched in blood. As she staggers outside in shock, dogs on leashes begin barking wildly at her. Suddenly, she clutches her head in pain as a strange woman's voice calls out, beckoning her to come closer. The story then shifts back years earlier. A teenage girl is on a bus trip with her friend and a group of kids. Her friend teases her about spending the night at a boy's house, then reveals that she's actually pregnant. While the other kids laugh, sing, and celebrate the ride, the girl remains distracted, adjusting her music device. Sitting just a few seats away are a group of suspicious men. The bus driver suddenly takes a different route through a desolate area. Before anyone can react, the bus stops at a construction site. The men inside pull on masks and release gas, filling the bus. Chaos erupts as they begin beating the kids unconscious. The young pregnant girl is dragged away, while others storm the bus to finish off the rest of the children. She later awakens on a stretcher, disoriented, and is told by Dr. Beck that everything is fine. The doctor strangely reveals that she's pregnant with twins, a boy and a girl, and that her children will have countless brothers and sisters. Confused, the girl questions her, only for Dr. Beck's twin sister to appear, cryptically telling her that she doesn't understand who she really is or how important her pregnancy will be. Back in the present day, during a freezing winter, a mutant assassin smokes calmly as a team of fast, deadly assassins from China arrive. Their mission: hunt down a powerful rogue mutant. At the same time, a masked strike team invades a secret mutant hospital, slaughtering everyone inside. Meanwhile, in a hidden lab, a girl known as Arc-1, a dangerous mutant, awakens after annihilating all the scientists and soldiers around her. She rips the wires from her body and escapes barefoot into the snowy night along the Jeju Island coast. But as she walks, her powers spiral out of control. Every sound becomes unbearably loud. The crashing ocean, the howling wind, even the cries of birds. Overwhelmed, she nearly collapses before regaining control of herself. Elsewhere, Zhang, the head of a secret institute, arrives with his guards at Dr. Beck's home. He informs her about the breaches at multiple facilities, including the escape of Arc-1, her very own creation. Though Beck is retired, Zhang warns her that Arc-1 has gone missing, and a tactical unit has already been deployed to deal with the crisis. Back on the road, Arc-1 wanders barefoot through the snow until she reaches a highway. A speeding van nearly hits her, then suddenly screeches to a halt and reverses back. Inside are the henchmen of a ruthless gangster named Yongdu. Covered in blood and dazed, Arc-1 is quickly thrown inside the van. Also inside is another abductee, Kyung-hee, who has been resisting Yongdu's attempts to take her house. She pleads for Arc-1 to be released, but Yongdu insists on keeping her, suspecting she might have seen their license plate. When pressed, Arc-1 calmly proves she did, shocking him. One henchman strikes her when she doesn't answer quickly enough, while Kyung-hee protests, only to be beaten as well. Another thug begins harassing Arc-1, touching her face, and she warns him to stop. When he doesn't listen, Arc-1 finally snaps. She unleashes her strength, tearing through the henchmen and smashing the van doors off their hinges, sending the vehicle crashing violently into the woods. Kyung-hee crawls out of the wreckage and sees Arc-1 standing over a battered henchman, ready to kill him. She rushes forward and stops her, pulling her back from finishing the job. Grabbing a phone from one of the unconscious thugs, Kyung-hee quickly calls 911. She runs off, but stops when she notices Arc-1 still standing alone in the road. With a heavy sigh, she turns back, takes Arc-1 by the hand, and leads her away. Deep in the woods, Kyung-hee calls her uncle for help. He arrives within minutes, furious at Yongdu's constant attacks on his niece. But his anger shifts to shock when he lays eyes on Arc-1, her presence unsettling and mysterious. As Arc-1 staggers toward them, she suddenly collapses. The uncle and Kyung-hee rush to her side and carry her away. At his clinic, the uncle performs surgery on Arc-1, removing shards of metal, glass, and strange devices embedded in her skin. Arc-1 jolts awake, but calms herself and allows him to continue. As he works, he discovers a chip implanted deep in her skull. He freezes in disbelief, finding out the open wounds across her body have already healed completely, as if nothing had ever happened. Later, he confides in Kyung-hee, saying there's something unnatural about Arc-1, her healing ability defying logic. He suggests involving the police, but Kyung-hee refuses, insisting she will take care of the girl herself until she recovers. Meanwhile, elsewhere, a mutant agent named Jo Hyun single-handedly clears out a facility filled with dangerous mutants. Badly wounded, she slumps against a wall and radios in her success, requesting a cleanup team. Her right-hand man, Tom, later picks her up, frustrated by her reckless habit of working alone. Back at her home, Jo-hyun strips off her bloodied clothes and removes shards of glass from her flesh. Suddenly, a strange dark substance begins surging through her veins. Fighting it back, she smashes her fist into the wall, forcing herself under control. Back with Kyung-hee, she brings Arc-1 into her home. For the first time, Arc-1 seems entranced, marveling at the glowing signboards and the simple beauty of life beyond the walls of the lab where she had been imprisoned. Inside the house, Kyung-hee's younger brother, Dae-gil, grows uneasy, questioning his sister's decision. When he reaches out in frustration, Arc-1 suddenly grabs his hand, mistaking his gesture for a threat against Kyung-hee. The tension eases when Kyung-hee calms her down and introduces Dae-gil as her brother. To make Arc-1 feel safe, she introduces her as their sister, saying she will be living with them from now on. Later at dinner, Arc-1 watches hungrily as the siblings eat. When the brother and sister start arguing, she takes the opportunity to devour the entire spread at lightning speed, leaving the table empty before they even notice. Shocked, the two can only watch as she wipes the plates clean. That night, Kyung-hee shows Arc-1 to her old childhood bedroom, offering her clean clothes and a place to sleep. Also, she quietly thanks Arc-1 for saving her life. Meanwhile, Agent Jo-hyun and Tom meet with Dr. Beck. The doctor explains everything about Arc-1, revealing that she and her twin sister have been searching for a complete model for years. By experimenting with ontogenetic genes, they created multiple versions, Arc-1 being one of them. But there is another, her sister, Jae-yoon. When Jo-hyun asks about Jae-yoon, Dr. Beck explains that she last saw her at the lab a month ago. But unlike Arc-1, Jae-yoon has a weakness. Her brain relies heavily on drugs, limiting her true potential. However, if she receives a bone marrow transplant from her mother, she could surpass even Arc-1 in power. Jo-hyun accepts the mission to capture Arc-1, and Dr. Beck gives her a device that can track Arc-1 through the chip implanted in her head. On the way to prepare for the mission, Jo-hyun and Tom realize they're being tailed by a pair of assassins. They lure them into the woods, where the assassins briefly lose sight of them. Suddenly, Jo-hyun swings their car around and slams straight into the assassins, pinning them against a tree. Tom steps out to confront them, demanding to know why they're following. He warns them not to start a fight, but one of the assassins casually rips a car door off and hurls it at him. Tom catches it with one hand, his patience snapping. The fight explodes. One assassin launches through the air and slams onto Tom, who uses the car door as a shield. They trade brutal blows. One kick smashes Tom into a tree, another kick topples a tree entirely. Fueled by rage, Tom beats one assassin down, hurling him so hard he's impaled on a branch. But the man doesn't die. He pulls himself free, snarling. The second assassin smashes a fist straight through the car door Tom is holding, only for Tom to counter, slamming him to the ground and then throwing him into his partner. Jo-hyun, calm as ever, tells them to bring their boss if they want to fight, then drives off with Tom to continue tracking Arc-1, their device now successfully locking onto her location. Back at the house, Arc-1 sits quietly when her nose suddenly starts bleeding. Her head throbs with pain. Everything grows unbearably loud again. This time, her mother's voice calls out to her, urging her to come to her. In the middle of her torment, Arc-1 does something new. She stops time itself. When she regains control, she steps outside just in time to see cars pulling up, Young-do and his men. Kyung-hee is already outside, armed with a gun, demanding that Young-do leave her property. His men advance anyway. She fires a warning shot into the air, but they overpower her, seizing the gun and pinning her down. Dae-gil charges out with a baseball bat, but the gang beats him down as well. Young-do now holds the gun and demands Kyung-hee sign away her house with a fingerprint contract. He tempts her with money, but she refuses, insisting the house is hers and her father's legacy. Enraged, Young-do reveals the truth. He murdered her father. His men begin savagely beating both Kyung-hee and Dae-gil to force her hand. Suddenly, Arc-1 appears on the roof, silently watching. The gang freezes and pleads with her to come down peacefully, but instead she leaps from the building and lands firmly in front of them. Moving with terrifying speed, she kicks one thug clear across the yard into a barn. Another's leg is snapped in half before he's hurled into a stack of lumber. When one of them swings a bat at her, she shatters it in her bare hands. Young-do panics and orders everyone to kill her. Arc-1 kicks a car, sending it crashing into the advancing men, then storms through the rest, tossing them aside like ragdolls. She disarms Young-do in a blink, holding his gun to his own face. He stares at her in terror. Kyung-hee rushes forward, grabbing Arc-1's arm and stopping her from finishing him. She orders Young-do to take his men and never come back. Broken and humiliated, Young-do flees with what's left of his gang. Inside, Kyung-hee tends to Dae-gil's wounds. But he's buzzing with questions, demanding to know who Arc 1 really is and how she's so powerful. Kyung-hee admits she doesn't know either. Dae-gil, however, lights up with boyish excitement, joking that maybe Arc 1 is an alien, and insists he wants to film her and upload it to YouTube. The next day, the 4 deadly mutants from China arrive in Korea on their mission to capture Arc 1. As they travel, one complains about exhaustion and wonders if they're even close. Another scrolls through funny Korean videos, laughing hysterically, which irritates her sister. Their leader, amused, encourages them to fight, eager to see which of them is stronger. Young-do, still furious over his humiliation, storms into Kyung-hee's uncle's shop with his gang, demanding answers about the strange girl. When the uncle hesitates, Young-do cruelly pins his hand down and chops off his finger, even after the uncle blurts out the truth, that Arc 1 is the one everyone is after. Later, Dae-gil takes Arc 1 to the market. On the way, he shows her YouTube videos of people eating massive amounts of food for money, insisting she should do the same. But Arc 1 barely listens. All she can think about is food. Inside the supermarket, she's overwhelmed with joy, marveling at the endless aisles. She tears into snacks, piles food high in her arms, and munches through samples. Dae-gil scrambles after her, mortified, finally dragging her away before she eats the place dry. That night, Kyung-hee brings her uncle home from the hospital. He warns her to let Arc 1 go before she brings too much danger to their family. Reluctantly, he tells her they'll have to surrender the land to Young-do to avoid further bloodshed. Meanwhile, Young-do secretly reports Arc 1's location to Jang's squad. But before he can breathe easy, his men are gunned down, and the 4 powerful Chinese mutants step out of the shadows. Their leader smashes Young-do's phone and corners him. Calm but menacing, she promises not to kill him, unless he refuses to talk. Elsewhere, on a rooftop, Dae-gil shows Arc 1 a video of Jae-yoon, her sister, performing telekinesis on TV. Dae-gil doesn't know the connection, but insists Arc 1 should do the same, make money with her power. To tempt her, he promises pizza and fried chicken. Arc 1 grins and demonstrates, raising objects into the air with her mind. He's stunned. Meanwhile, Kyung-hee encounters Jo Hyun in secret. Jo Hyun shows her footage of Arc 1 brutally killing people, calling her a monster. She gives Kyung-hee a device to signal them when Arc 1 should be eliminated and warns her to take her brother and run before the fireworks show begins. Back in the woods, Jo Hyun and her team position themselves, setting up the ambush. The countdown to the fireworks is just 30 minutes away. At the same time, Young-do and Jang's squad head toward Kyung-hee's house. Inside, Kyung-hee notices her brother holding Arc 1's hand, talking about taking her to watch the fireworks. Alarmed, she makes him let go. One of Jo Hyun's tactical soldiers sets up on a billboard sign, locking a bazooka onto Arc 1's location. Sensing danger, Kyung-hee breaks down and apologizes to Arc 1, urging her to run. Arc 1 realizes something is wrong, just as Jo Hyun spots Jang's squad converging with Young-do's gang. Moments later, both groups arrive at the house. Young-do's men pile out of their cars, standing side by side with the squad. Kyung-hee storms out with a gun, defiant, while Arc 1 and Dae-gil slip onto the roof. Dae-gil points to the main road, telling Arc 1 to escape and promising she can return when it's safe. Young-do demands Arc 1's location. When Kyung-hee refuses, he raises his gun and shoots her in cold blood. Dae-gil rushes to her side, screaming. At that moment, the sniper fires 2 rockets from the bazooka, blowing apart half the house as fireworks explode across the night sky. But Arc 1's body is nowhere to be found. One of Jang's mutant soldiers charges toward the billboard sniper. A brutal fight erupts. The mutant dodges explosive shots, slicing the man's leg and face with ruthless precision. The soldier is stabbed and stabbed again by the mutant, relentlessly. Immediately, the man pulls out his gun and starts firing at the mutant, but she leaps into the air, dodging every bullet with incredible agility. In one swift move, she knocks him off the billboard. As he desperately shoots again, she avoids the bullets and finally kills him before leaping gracefully back onto the billboard. Dae-gil cradles his dead sister in his arms when Young-do approaches, trying to console him. But Dae-gil is furious. Just as Young-do raises his gun to shoot him, Jo Hyun intervenes, telling them all to leave. But the chief of the mutant squad refuses and uses her telekinesis. She rips out a wooden fence and impales all of Young-do's gang members instantly. Tom and Jo Hyun open fire on the mutants, but the squad glides around at superhuman speed, dodging every bullet. The fight turns brutal. One mutant stabs Jo Hyun repeatedly, but she counters with her own powers and manages to kill her attacker. Another mutant attacks Tom, slamming him into a wall. Jo Hyun fires at the mutant, but but she regenerates her wounds instantly. Another joins in, throwing Jo Hyun off the building. Amidst the chaos, Jo Hyun shouts at Dae-gil to run and save himself. But before he can, Young-do fires a shot. Tom tries to stop him, but the bullet passes through Jo Hyun and fatally strikes Dae-gil, killing him. Meanwhile, in the woods, Arc 1 awakens, realizing everything has gone wrong. Kyung-hee and Dae-gil are dead. She recalls their small but precious memories together. Suddenly, one of the mutant squad members spots her and charges with a knife. Arc 1 freezes her midair with telekinesis and forces her own blade into her skull, killing her instantly. Back at the house, Tom recovers from the crash and tries to fight again. Jo Hyun engages in a vicious knife fight but is overwhelmed. The mutants stab her multiple times, leaving her bleeding out. Tom intervenes, but he and Jo Hyun are both killed in the battle. One of the mutants rips off his mask in anger, only to see Arc 1 dragging a dead squad member's body toward them. Arc 1 discovers the lifeless bodies of Kyung-hee and Dae-gil, which pushes her into a rage. She cripples Young-do by shattering his legs, despite his enhanced strength. Then she unleashes her powers on the remaining mutants, tearing one apart with a telekinetic force, forcing another to stab herself repeatedly before breaking her neck. She creates a massive telekinetic storm, hurling debris and disintegrating one of the mutants in a violent tornado. Terrified, the last mutant hesitates to approach Arc 1. At that moment, Gu Jae-yoon arrives by car. The surviving mutant, relieved to see her, lowers her guard, only for Jae-yoon to execute her on the spot for disobeying orders. It's revealed that Jae-yoon had sent the squad to release Arc 1. She tells Arc 1 not to fight her, as she's not at full strength. Then she reveals the truth. They are sisters, and she has been monitoring Arc 1 ever since her escape. Jae-yoon explains that she needs Arc 1's help to find their mother, who shares a powerful psychic bond with her. Arc 1, consumed with grief, doesn't answer. She only thinks about saving Dae-gil and Kyung-hee. Jae-yoon offers her a dose that could revive one of them, but not both. Young-do, bleeding out, slowly dies nearby. Before Arc 1 can choose, Jae-yoon injects her with a tranquilizer, carries her into the car, and drives away. In the final scene, Dr. Beck senses that the sisters are now united. The camera shifts to reveal their mother, submerged inside a giant aquarium-like chamber with wires connected to her body. Her eyes suddenly open. The movie ends. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe.